Hey, it's me again. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, or welcome here for the first time, if this is your first time on my channel. Today, I decided to switch things up just a little bit. Instead of a movie review or some sort of cartoon rating that you guys are probably oh so used to by this point, I kind of wanted to switch things up a little bit and do a little bit of dumpster diving. Well, I mean, kind of. I don't know. Of course, I'm not going to be actually jumping into any sort of dumpster. I mean, unless you want me to, then I could. Instead, today we're going to be going to the very well-renowned video game distribution service known as Steam. And on Steam, I have one goal and one goal only. Well, it's technically three goals. Three goals. I have three goals. The first rule is to find 3 separate games on Steam that have very little to no user reviews. Number 2 is I have to play each game for a minimum of 15 minutes. I could play longer if I'm actually a little bit invested in the game and I want to see where it goes. But, you know, there's a minimum. It's a minimum of 15 minutes. And last, but definitely not least, I don't know. I didn't really think of one. All right, let's get into our first game. The first game that I decided to play was a little game called Nocturnal Nemesis. And I'll let you know right now, I didn't look into the game whatsoever before I started playing. And despite all the yellow words that you see on the screen right here, and even the voice acting that I won't show you because it's deafening to the ear, I'm still confused on what I was supposed to be doing.
I'm slightly confused on what exactly I'm supposed to be doing. So I guess it's a nightly based thing, kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's type of deal, I guess.
And that it was a Five Nights at Freddy's type of thing, except that absolutely nothing fucking worked. There's this mechanic where you have to fix the doors and fix the generators in the game. I got it to work once, I think, and I don't even think it was on purpose. It was definitely a fluke. Nothing worked in this game.
Maybe if I do fix like this, maybe if I do this and fix, and this, and do T, and do this, and do fix, or maybe T, or maybe I do this, and I do fix, and maybe T, or maybe I do this, and maybe I do fix, and I do T, or this one right here, and maybe I do fix, and maybe T, or maybe I just sit back, and I die peacefully. Yes, come get me. My 15 minutes is up.
As you can probably tell, yeah, I am not the biggest fan of this game. Aside from none of the inputs actually doing anything, and a really vague idea of what the premise of the game is, the monster or creature thingy isn't scary whatsoever. Not only does it walk around twiddling its thumbs from room to room, you never even get to see it up close. I attempted to play this game 3 times, and every time that I died, was there a jump scare or something spooky in order to make this actually a horror game? No. Instead, when you die, an out-of-frame text box shows up that says, what I can only assume is, "What have you done?" So there's that. I wish I could tell you what happens when you win the game, but of course I did not win, and frankly, I do not care to. I'm just happy to finally be done with that atrocity. The second game that I chose to play for this video is called Dead Abyss. Now, I'm sure that just by using those little peepers that you got on your head there, you're probably able to tell that this game already looks a little bit better. But even having that in mind, going into this, I didn't really have very high expectations, considering that the developer has marketed it as a very short puzzle horror style game. So I was more or less expecting to play for like 5 minutes.
Okay. A little device. We have a device now. This is cool. All right.
So essentially, this game is kind of a wild goose chase. You use this radio device and the flashlight on it to maneuver through this abandoned submarine in order to find different electrical fuses for doors that will, I assume, guide you towards the exit. I don't know, I didn't get that far. There were really only 2 reasons as to why I didn't finish the game, and honestly, one of them wasn't even the game's fault. The first reason was the movement. For some reason, maneuvering around felt like doing a sobriety test after 5 games of Rage Cage. It was sluggish, and the input lag was enough to trigger a blind man's vertigo. And I don't even know what that means. And the second reason is, well, for lack of better words, I is a idiot. So one of the main parts of this game is this little device. You know, the one that I briefly mentioned a little bit earlier.
Little device?
Well, the thing with this device is that it's the heart and soul of completing the game. Not only does this device open all of the doors that you need to go through, it also holds your main source of light. Now, that might not seem important at first glance, but yeah, no, you're right, it's not important. Unfortunately for me, I have been gifted with a touch of the tism. So every now and then, when you walk into a room, there's a box that allows you to recharge your little device, including the flashlight. Well, the problem is, I don't have very good time management skills. So once I left the first charging station, I could not find another. Yeah, I got left in the dark for 10 minutes. But luckily, after walking around for about 10 minutes, just willy-nilly, hoping that I could find another one, I eventually did. The problem was, right when I did find it, that was the end of the 15 minutes. So, that was Dead Abyss. So overall, I don't think it's a bad game. I can tell it was more of a passion project rather than it being an attempt at a full game. And since it is a full game that's already released, I don't know if anything can really be done about the movement feeling a bit off, but for the dev, if you're somehow watching this, I would heavily recommend trying to hone in on making it feel more natural for the future projects, and perhaps even adding a bit more to the story and the environment so it doesn't just feel like a task simulator for the majority of the game. Now I know this was a short game, so that doesn't really apply as much here, but I figured that I'd at least mention it. Alright, with all that being said, let's move on to our third and final game of the video. Veneficium. Veneficium? How the fuck do you say this? While searching for my final game, whatever it's called, caught my eye almost immediately. Not only is the name an absolute mouthful to say, the game obviously had a pretty solid storyline. And unlike the other games that I played in this video, Veneficium's storyline is portrayed not through text, but with a cool-ass cutscene.
My family. And for what? Because we looked to the green ground instead of worshipping the blinding sun. And when they came for my grandmother, the only family I have left, I watched my sisters perish, and I listened to their screams.
Alright, the main objective of this game is to forage for different ingredients around the land in order to create potions that will help you find your grandma, who was taken away due to allegedly being a witch. Jesus, that was a mouthful. It's an incredibly cool concept, and I was genuinely looking forward to playing. I like the idea of gathering materials in order to use your abilities, but the thing that I don't like is what the abilities are. Well, to be more specific, I would. You see, I would like the abilities if I knew what they did.
Whoa. Okay. I just click the acid button? I'm just on acid now? Okay, alright. That was the schizophrenia button. Alright. So I guess everything that I forage is just a new drug.
So yeah, I never did find out what these abilities do, so to my knowledge, I'm just doing illicit substances. But besides your abilities, this game has you traversing around a very linear map on the search for your grandmama. But do be careful on your journey because hidden around on the ground, there are bear traps. Oh yeah, and there's also this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish Veneficium. Not because I didn't enjoy it or anything, but this game is much longer than I initially thought it was going to be. I actually quite enjoyed this experience, and I plan on eventually coming back to finish the full game. But for now, that's all I really got through in the 20 to 25 minutes that I played it for. But with all that being said, that's about everything I had for you guys today. I'll have links to all the games down in the description in case one of these games caught your eye, or if you just want to see if you're smarter than me by beating them. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to hit the like button before you leave, and maybe even subscribing if you'd like to come back for future videos. Alright, thanks for watching guys, I will see you next time.